Hey sports fans, welcome back to the Foolish Show. Of course, I am Foolish Phil. Just wanted to do a little video. We're about, halfway, 3/4 of the way through Saturday. There's so many sports stories going on. The first NFL playoff game is over, and obviously one more tonight. So I thought I'd just do a video now before we got this gap before New England and Buffalo. Man, what a game, Las Vegas versus Cincinnati. Definitely, score-wise, this was a great showcase for the NFL. You have Carr and the Las Vegas Raiders coming all the way out to, play Cincinnati. Who's going to break their playoff winning drought in the playoffs and such? And obviously, you watch the game, Cincinnati pulls it out. And sadly, where do you start with this game? You got to start with the refs, man. And the NFL refs are plucked off of each crew. They are rated throughout the whole year. They get graded and such. And supposedly, the NFL picks the best ones. Now, this reffing crew had a terrible night. So many weak calls, so many blown calls. Definitely, you have to start with Cincinnati's second touchdown. Joe Burrow was scrambling to his right, and he threw the ball, and it was caught for a touchdown. But for whatever reason, the ref thought he stepped out of bounds, and they blew the whistle about a half a second to a second before Cincinnati caught it for the touchdown. The refs talk for a long time, and then they say it's a touchdown. The one thing that I'm okay with the refs screwing it up on the field. Fine. That happens. They're humans. That's part of sports. It's not great, but we're used to that. But all scoring plays are supposed to be reviewed by the booth. So how come the booth didn't know the rule that if an inadvertent whistle happens and no one's possessing the ball is supposed to be dead and replay the down? How did the refs in the booth, the rules officials who review all scoring plays and all other plays that come up that are requested to be reviewed, how do they not know that rule? So here you go, Las Vegas fans. There you go. Now you got the tuck rule. Now you have the phantom whistle rule. I don't know what you're going to call this, but another big-time blown call by refs that greatly impacted your team. And you know what? I'm sure every team has this, but it just comes into play because Oakland, got totally jobbed by the tuck rule, and now they get totally jobbed by this. And their coach said the right things. You got to just keep playing the game. He said that at halftime. But you see where it really comes into play. Obviously, you can't go exactly all the way back. I know. But for the sake of argument, Las Vegas would have been down, assumingly, by 3 points on that last drive instead of having to need a touchdown. That's a big difference. Oh, but this reffing crew was terrible all game. Just speaking of the last drive, you had your roughing the passer where the guy bumps him in the shoulder and, they just get that, they call the roughing the passer instead of just nothing. They had the play where they tried to call timeout, and eventually Oakland was granted the timeout, but still it took like 5 minutes to figure it out. It's like either the play happened or didn't, and the play got run, was a completion. Joe Burrow gets hit on the play, so no, none of it happened. Like, these refs just really struggled, and this was supposed to be the best crew, best of the best doing this game. So it's really, despite the score-wise, was a really black eye for the NFL that their refs are this bad. There were so many calls that didn't have to be made. And that's just what it is. So, congratulations to Cincinnati. Sorry, Las Vegas. We'll see if that plays anything into Jim Harbaugh entertaining the NFL or not. The word was that, maybe at most he would be interested in Las Vegas because, he had ties to the Davis family. We'll see how that goes. The other big news I wanted to hit on real quick here was college basketball in full swing. We are definitely into conference games, and boy, you see the conference games having a big impact. When you play a team once or twice a year, maybe 3 times if you play them in the conference championship games, the tournaments, I should say, you really kind of know how to play them. And you can just look at some of the upsets today. Northwestern goes into East Lansing and beats number 10 Michigan State. The Wildcats, I think, forced 17 turnovers and got 16 points off of those. Just crazy. Northwestern just seems to always be able to... They don't win all the time, don't get me wrong, but they seem to always have a knack to stay in the games against Michigan State. Outside of that, in the Big Ten, sticking in that conference just for a little bit, Rutgers continued their strong play. They obviously blew out my Wolverines. Yeah, I know, my Michigan Wolverines are not playing that great in basketball. But they were down by 11 points to Maryland. They completely flipped the script. Ron Harper Jr. goes for 26 points, I think it is. No, 31 points. 31 points. They're undefeated when he scores 20-plus points. And they were down by 11.5, and they win by 11. What a comeback by Rutgers. Kudos to them. They really turned on the defense and got the stops. Speaking of other upsets, you had number 19, Texas Tech, coming off their win over Baylor. They lose to unranked Kansas State, giving them their first Big 12 win. You also have Seton Hall losing on a terrible call. If you haven't seen it, you should look it up. I don't have who they even lost to. Sorry. But the offensive player completely leaned into him and actually elbowed the guy in the face. That's how much he leaned forward into the guy. But they gave him a bailout three-pointer. He hits one of the 3 free throws, and they win the game 73-72. LSU loses at home to Arkansas. Iowa State does beat Texas in a battle of ranked teams where Kalishaw had 22 points. Kudos. Another matchup of ranked teams, Kentucky blew out Tennessee. It was 107 to 79. Someone just blew them out. Kentucky was on fire. The trio of Washington, Wheaton, and Grady had 65 points. So I'm just outstanding for them. And probably, unless another huge upset happens, the story really is that Baylor, number 1 Baylor for no longer, as soon as the poll comes out tomorrow, loses their second game of the week. They lose to unranked Oklahoma State. So what's going on with Baylor? They were undefeated, the last undefeated, at least the ranked team, number 1 team, and now they go down 2 times in the same week. I mean, I did not read box scores and such as watching Cincinnati, Las Vegas. But are they having COVID issues? Do they have the full staff? I'll have to read up on that. But yeah, college basketball, man. When you play conference opponents, they know how you run your offense, they know how you run your defense, and they know how to attack you. And you see upsets like this pretty commonly in college basketball. You get in the conference like this. Man. Oh, man, just a quick rundown, lots of sports. So, let me know what are your takeaways from any of this. What do you think about Las Vegas, Cincinnati? Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, just excellent, obviously. They're really the Cinderella story of the NFL playoffs right now. Not surprised to see them win. Heartbreak for Las Vegas as they get so close, yet so far. Yeah, they're so close, but I don't know. I didn't mention this. But how doesn't Carr throw the ball to the end zone on 4th and goal? Even if that ball's not picked. There's a guy standing right behind your tight end, or your wide receiver, whatever it was, and you're going to get tackled short. So, okay, two things. One, why is your route not going into the end zone, number 7? And why did Carr throw it there short of the end zone? Oh, well. Hey, if you have any comments, put them in the box below. I'll try to respond as I'm able to. And we'll see if we do another video today or tomorrow. And until I see you guys next time, always, go blue.